You've got your character all figured out. A halfling sorcerer named Dr. Dance Buffalo. You've chosen your first level spells, filled out your skills. You... Is he in? Is that okay if he's in? You've chosen your first level spells, filled out your skills. You have a low constitution, but your charisma is completely maxed out. But high charisma and a clever name does not a character make. You'll still want to flesh out that character a bit more by figuring out their background. Luckily, 5th edition D&D has this awesome background mechanic to help turn your two-dimensional paper doll of a character into a multi-dimensional, fully functioning story-generating machine, which is what we're talking about on today's Handbooker Helper.
Don't know how to play? We'll show you the way. Handbooker Helper. Handbooker Helper.
One of my favorite new additions to D&D 5e is backgrounds. It's this handy feature that incentivizes your character's dynamic history and all of that hard work you did creating it. There are many paths one might take to arrive at a really cool character for your DM's story gristmill. There's 2 ways you can start. Creating your character and going through the player's handbook to find which background fits best with your original creation. Or you can start with the good old PHB and utilize the options provided to help you fill out their backstory. But first, what exactly do we mean by background? Well, a background defines your character's story, who they were before they were an adventurer, and what exactly happened to push them into the unique life of diving into dungeons and fighting beasties for the promise of coin and treasure. Did they come from money, but ran away to join a monastery when they learned of their family's unscrupulous business practices? Or, maybe they were a human noble who lost their family estate to a cadre of vampires, then dreamt of the designs for Exandria's first firearms. See? These characters are already becoming more interesting. But which background should you go with? The handbook lists 13 possible options. There's also more to choose from in extended D&D content, or you and your DM can discuss a custom background based on whatever you dream up in your adventuring mind. You can either roll the dice and go with that answer, or you can simply choose one for yourself. It's entirely up to you, because, D&D is the greatest game ever. But there's more to this than just coming up with a cool backstory. Backgrounds in 5th edition grant you these cool little perks that benefit your character and gameplay. Depending on the background you choose, you can learn additional languages, gain new equipment, or new role-playing abilities. You also gain proficiency in 2 specified skills. This is handy because this typically comes with proficiency in the use of 1 or more tools, like a hunting kit for Outlanders or a holy symbol if you're an acolyte. And if those same skills were learned from another source, you can sometimes choose a whole other proficiency. Finally, each background has suggested characteristics that include personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. To give you an example of what's possible if you start off with the suggestions in the player's handbook, let's do a quick build of a sailor to show how a great character background can place your character as captain of the cool story, bro. Let's say you're a half-elf fighter named Slapdash Oleander, and you, the player, decide you want your character to fight on the high seas, so you turn to page 139 in the PHB to see that, as a sailor, you're granted 2 skill proficiencies in athletics and in perception. Also, you have tool proficiency in navigator's tools and water vehicles. But wait, there's more. See, already this character background thing is paying off. As a sailor, you get equipment in the form of a belaying pin, that's a club, 50 feet of silk rope, a lucky charm, like a rabbit's foot, a set of common clothes, and a belt pouch with 10 gold pieces. Heck yes. However, we're not stopping there. As a sailor, you also get a feature called Ship's Passage, which means you can secure passage, for free, on a ship bound for sea. Your DM will determine the duration of your travel, and your characters will be expected to help out on the ship. But we've still got just a little bit more work to do with the suggested characteristics, which will help round out your character and give you and your DM so much more with which to play. Let's say you decide you want to trust your luck with Avandra and roll your dice. For personality trait, let's say you roll your d8 and you get a 5, which says essentially you love to get into bar fights. For ideal, you rolled a d6 and got a result of 4, defining you as a predator who loves fighting other ships at sea, also giving you an evil alignment. For bond, you roll a d6 for a result of 6, and this adds a bit of backstory to poor Captain Slapdash, that pirates murdered his previous crewmates and left him to die, endowing him with a ruthless desire for vengeance. Finally, you roll a d6 for a flaw, getting a result of 4, which weighs you down with a great dependence on drinking. And there you have it. In 30 seconds, you rolled up a pirate with severe anger and abandonment issues, with loyalty only to himself in the Great Blue Seas, who picks bar fights just so he can remember what it feels like to touch another person. And that's just using the handbook. Imagine what else you'll bring to this character when you start playing them. However, tabletop RPGs are the greatest because you can completely customize your character background. You don't have to stick with what's in the PHB. Be creative, give your character a backstory no one is expecting. Maybe they're an elven cleric who is actually a human thief charlatan simply pretending to be a holy knight. Perhaps they're even a duck, cursed by a witch to be a half-orc barbarian who can only remember the last 48 hours. The options are limitless, and at the end of the day, fleshing out a background for your character can truly enhance your role-playing experience, and ultimately, your entire game. Vivid characters create vivid moments that will stick with you for a lifetime. And remember, have fun. Exandria, or whatever realm you play within, is your world.
Handbooker Helper.
At the end, make sure you say don't forget to like and subscribe.
I mean, it's hard to...